Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for another video in this 100 swaps series. The last video, 100 zero waste swaps, I'll link it above or below. Thank you for your positive feedback on that, it really means a lot. As always with these swaps, take what is applicable for you and accessible in your situation and simply leave the rest. If you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up because it really supports my channel, especially in that YouTube algorithm, and helps get the message out there. And while you're at it, subscribe so you don't miss the next video in this 100 series. Let's get into it. When you go shopping for food, make sure to write a shopping list beforehand. It may sound simple, but it helps to prevent you from buying additional food that you want on the spur of the moment, but may not end up consuming. Create a meal plan, even for a couple of days, to help you plan out how you're going to use the food you buy. Do a monthly cupboard sweep to ensure you're using all the foods you already have. Lots of food gets forgotten and deserves to be eaten, so don't let it go off. The longer you leave beans in your cupboard, the longer you need to soak them and cook them. So when you do come to it, please remember to soak for longer and cook for longer, otherwise you may end up throwing them away because you don't like the texture of them, and what a shame that would be. Don't buy foods you think you should buy because they're healthy or trendy, or because you can buy them in zero waste bulk, but wouldn't otherwise eat them. They always end up in the back of the cupboard forgotten about, and believe me, I would know. Maca powder. Make it a habit to also clean out your fridge every week. This forces you to take all the food out and evaluate what needs eating up before it goes bad. Of course, those of you with children and multiple jobs may not have the time, so maybe try just once a month. Make a list of the foods you frequently leave to go bad in your fridge or cupboard, and stop buying those products, or buy a smaller amount. Prep a small notebook of recipes that you genuinely like, and find alternative ingredients that you can supplement ones for if you don't have all the stuff. This helps to use up what you do have and prevents you from buying new. It also provides a small education in what goes together food-wise to prevent those weird concoctions that are gross. Believe me, again, I would know. Always eat before going to the shops to buy food. I've bought so many things not on my list just because I was hungry at the time. Food storage is so important, so let's break them down. Root vegetables should be stored in a cool, dark place. Herbs. I always recommend, if possible, having a small live pot of them on your windowsill, but if you can't, then keep them in a sealed bag in the fridge or in a glass of water on your windowsill again. I find the sealed bag method keeps them fresh for longest, but the glass of water does the trick too. Utilise your freezer, if you have one, to cook and store vegetables that are going off but you don't or can't eat them yet. Again, utilise your freezer also for leftovers, if you know you'll be eating out or not at home in time to eat them. You can also store several portions of, say, plant-based chili, so that it lasts longer, because after a few days in the fridge it can get a bit gross. The same goes for beans. If you're cooking them from dry, then you want to make the most out of your time and cook a lot. By portioning out the beans and freezing them, you can ensure they won't go off and you'll have a store of wonderful protein ready to use. Label the items of food you freeze because it helps you to know the expiry date of that item. This will make sure you eat it up in time. Don't buy into offers unless you actually need something. For example, 3 for 2. Don't get this unless you actually need or will use within the specified time. Use apps like Olio to give food away or to use up others' food that may go to waste. Use apps like Too Good To Go to help restaurants or cafes etc. in your area to reduce their waste. I've used this so many times and you end up getting a really delicious meal for a fraction of the price, and you prevented food from going to waste. Make a veggie broth from your peelings or offcuts that can't be used. I'll link a recipe in the description. Scrub veggies clean with a brush rather than peel them to save the skin, which also carries lots of the nutrients in the food. Keep scraps in your freezer until you need them to prolong their life and prevent you from wasting or forgetting about them. Compost, however small, any other scraps and use to grow new food. Check out Hippie Emoji on IG. Learn how to identify a properly ripened fruit so you don't pick it and eat it before it's time. I've certainly prematurely bitten into an underripe pear and ended up wasting it because it was crunchy as. Things that you need to eat immediately. Create a system so they are immediately available to you when you open the fridge. If you tuck things away at the back, they will get forgotten. Veg prep. You're more likely to use veggies when they're chopped up or prepped, just like the dried beans. If you have a disability that prevents you from chopping, buying pre-chopped in plastic is nothing to feel guilty about, and it could help you save food waste too. Support companies like Oddbox, or in the US you have Imperfect Produce that save veggies from going to waste because they're too big, too small, too weird, or wonky. Support farms like Riverford, who use organic and slow practices to grow their food, thus wasting less. Use the stems of herbs. I never understand why people don't. For ones like coriander, the most flavour is actually in the stem, so chop them up really small, add to the blender with your other ingredients and make a paste for a curry, or even just throw on top of a salad. The stems are good, don't throw them away. The same goes for broccoli stems and the green bits of spring onions. These hold wonderful flavours and can really enrich any dish or soup. I like to take a moment to think about how lucky I am that I can actually afford these foods and question whether if I weren't so lucky, would I really be wasting any part of it? Regrow your vegetables. It's actually amazing how much you can regrow, things like lettuce, spring onions, leeks and so many more. Give it a try and you'll be surprised. When making your own DIY milk recipes like the one linked at the top of the screen now, don't waste the pulp. You can use it in things like porridge or to make pancakes, muffins or cookies. Pickle those veggies. This is such a great way to get some new flavours into your palate while saving some beautiful veggies from going to waste. You could also make a soup or hummus with the veggies that are getting soft and are needing a little blendy blend to make them palatable. Candy those citrus peels. If you haven't tried this, you are missing out on a treat. You can pickle or candy those delicious peels and have them as a snack or a side. You can also use citrus peels once scraping out the pith to flavour your vinegar to wipe down surfaces and clean those countertops. Some veggies that are going soft actually perk right back up if you place them in a mug of water, like celery, so give it a go before giving up on those veggies. Be careful how you store your produce. Bananas will help ripen other fruit quickly, so if you don't want to end up with a whole load of ripened fruit quite yet, separate them out so they don't help them along. If you're a real waster, why not try keeping a food waste journal? I've always found this helpful when I'm ending up with more food waste than I think is normal, and it helps me to confront the issues of where I'm wasting the most and why. One thing I like to do if I've chopped up some fruit and it's been sitting in the fridge for a few days and has become a little too juicy, is to blend them up and freeze them, turning them into fruit popsicles, a great healthy snack for kids too. Another tip for herbs that might be going off is to chop them up really small and put them in an ice cube tray with some olive oil or just water and freeze them. The next time you need some, you can head to the freezer and add them straight to the pan or leave them to thaw on the side. The same goes for coconut milk if you have any left over. You can also put those cubes into and freeze until you're ready to use them. There are so many options for stale bread, so don't give up on it just yet. You can blend them into breadcrumbs, chop them up and put them in a panzanella salad or simply toast it. Use apps like Plant Jammer to help you decide what to make with the random ingredients you have in your fridge or cupboard when you need a little inspiration. Soaking banana peels in water for at least 48 hours makes a good fertiliser spray for gardens, or as Shelby does, you can wipe the peel over your plant leaves. Apparently this is good for them. Another bread tip is, when you want to buy bread, visit your local bakery and check if they have and are willing to sell you yesterday's bread. It's always just as good and often cheaper because they may have just thrown it out. Dry your herbs if you're not going to use them. My parents have a rosemary bush that I often take clippings from and just hang upside down to dry out so I don't forget about it and let it go bad. Then they last for ages. Another citrus rind tip is to freeze them and then use them in a cake or to flavour a sticky sweet sauce. If you must peel your potatoes, you can always dry them off and place them on a baking sheet with some salt, pepper and oil and make delicious crispy skins as a snack. Buy bruised or scratched fruit at the supermarket. These never get picked and end up in the supermarket bin when really there's nothing wrong with them. You can always just use them for juices, smoothies or those popsicles I mentioned earlier. We have some apple trees that always produce too many apples for us to eat, so we like to share them with the neighbours and donate boxes of them to the rest of the community to eat and share in the spoils we're so lucky to have. You can also make apple butter with excess apples or even bruised and slightly aging ones too. I'll link a recipe in the description. Use spent coffee grounds for a number of things. It's a great fertiliser for your garden with plants that bond well with coffee. It's also a great natural repellent if you don't want animals eating your edible garden. You can use it as a body scrub with some coconut oil, and it's also a natural deodorizer if you have any bad smells that need assisting. If you're someone who has a rabbit or other such veggie-eating creature, then give leftover scraps to them. Broken off single bananas are much less likely to be picked in the store since most people buy a bunch. If you find singles, buy them since they're more likely to be tossed. Check your supermarket to see if they have a misfit section. Some of them offer boxes with wonky fruit and veg, so by choosing those you're helping to vote with your pound and tell the supermarket that those foods are valuable to you. Another apple or fruit tip is to slice thin and bake into apple chips. If you're someone who has a dehydrator, dry tiny cubes of veggie scraps and herbs in a dehydrator, then toss them in a food processor with a little bit of salt and grind finely, and voila, you have some dry veggie stock. Yet another apple one. Use those apple peel and cores to make apple cider vinegar. It takes a little time, but it's certainly worth it. The same can be done with red wine. Consider turning your red wine that you may have forgotten about into red wine vinegar. It's so simple and so worth it. Always save your seeds. From things like pumpkins that produce edible seeds, you can either roast them and eat them, or you can save them, propagate and plant them like we did last year. Last summer we went to a local farmer's market and bought a massive tray of local tomatoes for $3, which otherwise would have been about $40, just because they had to be eaten within the day. We cut out any bad bits, boiled and blended them, and froze jars full of it to be ready for any tomato-based sauce that we wanted to create in the future. If you're arty or into textiles, plant waste can actually be turned into dyes. It's so clever and a great way to create art from waste. If you give it a go, please post it to IG and tag me, as I would love to see what you create. Don't peel your ginger with a knife, use a spoon. It's just as effective and makes sure you peel only the skin and none of that delicious flesh. Cauliflower leaves are delicious, don't throw them away. Whenever we make an aloo gobi, which is actually very often, we always steam and add the stems because they're perfectly edible. You can also toss in spices and olive oil and roast them in the oven. If you're lucky enough to have a little outdoor space or a balcony big enough for a few cucumbers, then planting your own food is excellent. This means you can harvest when the food is actually ripe or leave on the stems for a little longer until you're ready to eat them. Cucumbers are very easy to grow if you fancy giving them a go. This one is a little bit out there, but learning about regenerative agriculture can help you understand the importance of soil health, which for me made me put a deeper value on the food I consume. When we value things more, we waste them less. Freeze overly ripe bananas or make them into a delicious banana bread. In the UK, it's pretty tricky to secure a spot, but if you can, allotments are great for growing food and also learning from that community the best way to grow and share. Jams and chutneys are great ways to extend the life of fruits and veggies that are desperate to be turned into something new. How about canning? Okay, this process is tricky and it's essential you learn how to do it properly, but this can help you eat those delicious sun-ripened tomatoes all year round, simply by storing correctly. You can even turn your leftover orange peels into candles. How's that for zero waste? Link in the description. The leafy green tops of carrots are actually edible if you didn't know. Why not make a delicious artichoke dip with chickpeas and carrot tops? The same goes for beetroot tops. They are delicious steamed or fried with other spring greens. Lemon peels can also be turned into lemon powder. Again, if you have a dehydrator or an oven capable of slowly drying, then grind away. These can be used in baking, for lemon pepper and so much more. Infuse your alcohol like vodka with leftover herbs or berries or citrus rinds. Yum. Back to stale bread. Why not try making some croutons out of them? Add some salt, oil, pepper, shove them in the oven, and then top a homemade tomato and basil soup. Leftover herbs can again be used to flavour oil, same with chilies or garlic that's about to go off. Make pesto. Anything green that needs eating up can be chucked in there with nuts of choice. I like hazelnuts because they can be found in the UK, but any herbs, carrot tops, etc. can be made into a warming pasta dish. At the ends of jars like delicious tahini or peanut butter, etc., there's no need for waste. Add some lemon juice or soy sauce for whatever salad dressing you want to make, and get every scrap out of those beautiful jars. Fruit scraps make delicious water. Infuse a big jug in the fridge with your rinds, herbs, strawberry tops and enjoy later. Especially good for cheeky kids who hate drinking water. You can actually eat banana skin if you wait long enough for the bananas to ripen properly. Give them a good clean and then add them to your smoothie. You can also bake them too. Ginger peels don't need to go to waste. Put them in a mug and pour over a good helping of hot water. Wait to infuse and drink your ginger tea. Ignore best by and sell by dates for fruits and veggies, and if you eat dairy. These are incredibly overcautious. Instead, use your senses. That's what they're there for. If there's no mold and it smells fine, but it's after its sell-by date, then it's more likely an indication that it's actually still okay to eat. But of course, always proceed with caution. Slice and freeze bread. This is a great way to prolong the life of your bread, especially if you don't eat it every day. Wrap it up in a tea towel and take a slice out when necessary. Store things like carrots and asparagus, celery too, in a glass of water to keep them crispier for longer. Chuck an apple in with your potatoes when stored. This helps to slow down their ripening so they don't sprout before you're ready to eat them. Keep mushrooms in a paper bag to prevent them from prematurely decaying, as the bag can absorb some moisture. A small cloth bag works well too. Turn old food into face masks. People are loving using foods to hydrate and nourish their skin, so why not try DIYing your own out of bananas, for example, if you can't stand overripe ones and you're not a fan of banana bread. If you love pickling like me, then don't forget to reuse your pickle brine. There's no need to throw it away and it takes the hassle out of making a whole new batch. If you love to juice but hate to compost so much veggie pulp, there are lots of other ways to use it. Personally, our dogs love it, but only the veggies. We also like to fry it into some rice, add it to hearty pasta sauces and heap it into stews. Just make sure to use it quickly or freeze it to prolong the life. Ever made homemade soy milk? Well, then you'll know that the waste product is actually called okada. Instead of dumping, try frying and adding to a rice dish or smooshing with veggies and rice to make fritters. When storing things like sauces and soups in the freezer, only fill the container 3/4 to allow room for expansion. Store these in small quantities so the food freezes more quickly, which gives it a fresher taste. Make a tasty casserole with all the weird bits of vegetables that you haven't used in your fridge. Chop them up really small and pop them in. You can also make a lentil shepherd's pie with all the little bits of veggies you have left as well. Use root ends of things like Swiss chard to flavour your soups. Just remember to take them out before the end. Often not knowing what to do with vegetables can lead them to being wasted because we haven't cooked them properly or not found a recipe that makes them delicious. Riverford have a great feature on their Instagram called Veg Hacks, where they teach you how to make dishes from weird things like kohlrabi, kale stalk pesto, whole baked celeriac, and many more. Research is a wonderful tool. Read Braiding Sweetgrass on Indigenous wisdom and plant teachings. This may seem odd, but this book made me understand the idea of reciprocity when it comes to nature and food, and I haven't wasted a single piece of food since. Support food products that save waste, like Rubies in the Rubble, Rejuice, and many more. By supporting them, you're supporting an industry that hates waste. Use aquafaba or liquid from canned chickpeas to make meringue or homemade plant-based mayonnaise. Easy as, link in the description. And lastly, do your best. We can't all do everything, so meeting yourself where you're at is incredibly important. Choose what works for you and leave the rest. And remember, it's not just up to us, but also the supermarkets, our governments, and many more. And that's it. I'll shove loads of links in the description box. If you have any questions about anything I've mentioned, please put your questions in the link below. Obviously, I wanted to run through lots and lots of things, so if there is any other things, again, leave your questions in the link below. If you'd like to see a little bit more of my content, a little bit more personal, you can head over to my Patreon where I do things like journal entries, share how I plan videos and research videos and that whole process. And also I put 3 additional videos a month on there as well. So I'll link that in the description if you're interested. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this next 100 series. Make sure to give it a like if you like it and are excited for the next one. Thank you all for, being here and supporting. I really appreciate it. Share this video with a friend you think needs it, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.